Good morning, my class 7 students. Hope you enjoyed going through the second chapter, history, from my previous module. Once again, I am back with you, continuing the second chapter, history, that is New Kings and Kingdoms. This is the chapter wherein I had ended the first module with the Chola dynasty. I had discussed about Chola temples, how did they become the hub of economic activity, isn't it? And people started settling around that, became the nuclei of activities of economic gains. People started setting up small shops, art and craft, and earning through that. Temples were there. The capital of Cholas was Tanjavur, as we say Tanjore, the Chola Empire. Now, Chola administration. Chola Empire was divided into three major administrative units called central government, provincial government, and local government. Uttaramerur inscriptions, they generally suggest the administration of Cholas. Settlements of peasants known as Ur became prosperous with the spread of irrigation, agriculture. Nadu were the larger units formed by the groups of villages. Then administrative functions, dispensing justice and collecting taxes, were performed together by village council and Nadu. Affairs of the Nadu were controlled by rich peasants of the Vellala caste under the supervision of central Chola government. Now the administration was somehow headed by the king. The king's dynasty or kingship was hereditary in nature. As we generally say, it is dynastic in succession. And as we know, the Chola kingship was somehow following the royal family tradition. The whole empire had been divided into 9 provinces called mandalams. Then each province was headed by a viceroy who received orders from the king. And each mandalam was then divided into number of kotams or valanadus. Now still furthermore, Valanadu was subdivided into Nadu. And finally, each Nadu was divided into villages called Ur. So now here, as I was telling about dynastic succession, the heir apparent was called the Yuvraj. And their royal emblem was the Chola kings. It was tiger. Then Chola kings gave some rich landowners title like Muvenda Velam, that is a Velan or peasant serving 3 kings, then Arayar, that is chief, etc., as the markers of respect, and entrusted them with important offices of the state at the center. Brahmins often received land grants or Brahmadeya. Number of Brahmin settlements emerged in the Kaveri Valley. So the Chola administration somehow depended mainly on the land revenue. It was the main source of income. Almost say 1/6 of the land produce was collected as tax. Although besides land revenue, customs and tolls were other source of income for the empire. Then although we can say taxes on ports, forests and mines also contributed to the treasure of the king. Then each Brahmadeya was looked after by an assembly or sabha of prominent Brahmin landholders. Their decisions were recorded in detail in inscriptions, often on the stone walls of the temples. Associations of traders were known as nagarams. They also performed administrative functions in the towns. So, one of the most important administrative units of the Cholas was Nadu, as I mentioned earlier, and each Nadu was headed by a Nattar, while the council of Nadu was named Nattavai. Then the responsibility of the village administration was entrusted to the village assembly, which is already being called as Gram Sabha, which is the lowest unit of Chola administration. As in the previous module, we discussed about that it was maintenance of roads, tanks, temples, public ponds. The village assembly was also in charge of payment of taxes, and so many other things. Wherein now here this bronze sculptural work, most significant feature of Chola dynasty. Wherever you find this, you would simply say, oh, this belongs to Chola dynasty. It speaks for itself. Then this temple culture, here it is. And the village administration was carried on effectively by Variyams, the male members. Then inscriptions and texts. As most of the time in Uttaramerur inscriptions, everything was clearly written. As for, say, there were three types of Variyams. The Variyams, village administration, those who used to be the male members of the society, they were used to be called as Variyams. For example, the justice was administered by Nyay Variyam, while the temples were looked after by Dharam Variyam. Then control of finance was given to Ponnu Variyam. So these things were very evidently they were given there. Most of the time it was clearly written. Inscriptions from Uttamerur in Chingalpet district, Tamil Nadu, provide details of the way in which the Sabha was organized. Then the Sabha had separate committees. It had separate committees like looking after the irrigation works, the gardens, temples, etc. Then names of those who were eligible to be members of these committees were written on small tickets of palm leaf, and then these tickets were further put into an earthenware pot. This earthenware pot was supposed to be only a young boy was allowed. He was asked to pick out the tickets one by one from there, so that determined the membership, whosoever has to become the member. It was so much so as to say. Although when we say that administration of Chola was completely local administration at district and town and village levels, and other than that, when we say Uttaramerur inscriptions, although you may not be able to decipher either of the whichever language, mostly Telugu was there, and it was written all clearly. All the instructions which has to be conveyed to the people were written in these inscriptions, and in these inscriptions were written on the stone walls of the temples. Then as far as qualifications for the member of a Sabha, this is again predetermined by Uttaramerur inscription. So what were they? All those who wish to become members of Sabha should be owners of land from which the land revenue is collected. Then second provision says that they should have their own homes. Then regarding the age, they should be somewhere between 35 years of age and 70 years of age. Then they should have knowledge of Vedas. They should be well versed in administrative matters. They should be honest in expediting their work. And then also, apart from this, if you get into more detail, it was also written that if anyone has been a member of any committee in the last 3 years, he cannot become a member of another committee. Then they had also mentioned in the inscriptions that anyone who has not submitted his accounts and those of his relatives, he cannot contest the elections. So that debar him from being eligible to the elections. So now, as I told you earlier, that it was completely dependent on revenue, land revenue. So land happened to be very important. There were categorization of land as per the Chola inscriptions. So there were different names given to them. Vellan Vagai, that is land of non-Brahman peasant proprietors. Then Brahmadeya, they are land gifts to Brahmins. Then Shalabhoga, it's land for the maintenance of a school. And then Devadan and Tirunamattukkanni, land gifted to temples. And Palichandam, that is land donated to Jain institutions. So there were different categories and categorization wherein they had been very clear, and it has been vividly described what kind of land has to be given to whom, and when it is being given, what should be the designated term for it. They generally got into the minutest details. When we talk about the administration of Cholas, we say that no, they were very particular about they were having highly efficient system of administration. Like when we say the Chola village administration, it was most systematic and well developed. Even on the inscriptions, they had mentioned the assemblies called Ur and the Sabha, then the Mahasabha. Mahasabha were believed to be the gathering of male members of the community. And village administration, wherein Uttaramerur is a panchayat town in Kanchipuram district in the Indian state of Tamil Nadu. It is noted for its temple inscriptions that define a self-governance system existing around, say, 7th to 9th century. They were self-governed, and administration was highly efficient, I should say. They were never dependent on any outside authorities, and the administrative skills was such. So now here I have given a clipping of this. This is again of Chola dynasty. It's a infrastructure wherein it is well defined. Then coming to the end of this module. Now the chapter comes to an end with a reference to Cholas and the Chola kingdom. So finally, when we come to an end, I would summarize saying that Cholas were the best known for their local self-government at the village level. We hear of 3 assemblies called the Ur Sabha or Mahasabha and Nagaram. The Ur was a general assembly of the village, and the Ur consisted of all tax-paying residents of an ordinary village. Is it clear? And as in the previous module, it was also said that Chola administration or Chola empire was founded by Vijayalaya. He took over Tanjore kingdom in the 8th century and led to the rise of mighty Cholas, defeating whom? Pallavas. Tanjore was hence made the first capital of the eminent Chola empire. Right? So now coming to the end of the section, the chapter 2, I've given an assignment. That assignment is about the map work. In an outline, physical or political map of India, locate and mark the regions showing Chola kingdom and its neighbors. Now, let me make it clear that map work which I've given you, this is very interesting. Availability of map, it's totally up to you. If you have a physical map of India, outline physical map of India, good enough. If you have a political map available with you, equally good. If not, download a map. Even if that is not possible, just trace a map, right? And then mark the regions showing Chola kingdom and its neighbors. Mind it throughout the session I had been telling you, southern region, Kaveri river. So definitely the southern region will be marked, located to depict the Chola kingdom. The images are completely about South India, and it would be depicting southern region on the boundaries, wherein Chola. Also, you may be requiring to mention Pandyas and Cheras. If required, do so. Go ahead. Because when I am saying its neighbors, they would be coming in neighbors. So, I think this may be interesting for you to go through, and this possibly is the easiest assignment I can think of, not making you work too much, because all the subjects are being sent across to you. I can understand, and you should enjoy doing this map work. Make it colorful. Use colors to color the region. First, you, as I've been telling you in the class, make the outline of the map. Rest of the area which is not to be included in Chola kingdom should be colored in different base color, and then the Chola kingdom and its neighbors in a different color. Make it presentable, make it colorful, make it attractive. Use vibrant colors and enjoy doing the map or the map work. It's totally up to you how you make it happen. I think this will bring out your creativity as well, and I hope you would be enjoying. You can also take the help of your textbook. You can also do some net surfing. You can find it there as well. Depicting the Chola dynasty, Chola kingdom or dynasty, all the more same, its neighbors. You can mark in there, and also I don't insist upon mentioning the period of time or whatever. What all is simplest of the version, you do that. And while doing this map work, make sure that you don't write in the map. You have that labeling given there on the edges of the map. You use those colors as I've been telling you. You write, instead of writing everything on the map, it makes it look very untidy. So you can write it there, what all you have been showing. Use those colors, make an arrow, write there what that color is depicting, which region, whatever name you want to write there, and that is it. I hope you will be enjoying doing the map work. Do the map work, keep it with you, or if you have made any copy, you paste it there, and when we meet, we'll cross check it, right? So enjoy doing your assignment, and with this the chapter comes to an end. Thank you. Stay safe.